What up? What up? Welcome to episode 22 of Coach Talk. I am your host, Drew Lieberman. And last night, I thought of something very interesting. It was kind of a new spin on motivation, something I hadn't really thought of to myself before. I think I'm going to probably bring it up to the receivers today during our meeting, just as something to think about. I think it's always, I think part of staying self-motivated is continuing to like analyze what gets you going. Why there are times when you are motivated, why there are the times where you just don't have it. Because obviously, all of us go through that, whether we're players, whether we're coaches, whether we're have nothing to do with coaching or playing football, and just in your everyday life, there are times when you're really self-motivated and you're focused and you're on it and you're ready to rock. And there's other times where it's just it's hard to find that extra juice. And for me anyway, it's always helped to break down like what is it about the times when I'm going strong that keeps me that way. And I think something I thought of last night was the concept of curiosity as a motivating factor, and how, it's not really good enough just to be driven and hardworking. Those things will get you to a point, but to really, change the game and excel past your competitors and step it up to that next level, like you have to be curious about finding more ways to improve your craft or improve your skill or push your limits. I think it's not good enough to just do what to come to practice every day, do what the coaches tell you, and then leave and expect that that's going to make you a great player. The better the competition gets, the more curious you are, I think kind of determines, how much thought and planning and exercise you're willing to put into accomplishing your goals. Like for me, my entire coaching career, I've always felt like I'm very curious. I was at Rutgers, and in a small off the field role. And I was always so curious about how can I find more ways within my role to help the team? What's not being done, for the offensive staff that I could do for them? What could be done better? How can I present this better? Just always looking for new ways to improve. And I don't know, maybe curiosity is not the right word, but it's kind of what makes the most sense to me. Is I've always, my playing career, my coaching career, I've always, now as a receivers coach, I'm always curious, how do I find new ways to motivate these guys? What video can I show them that might resonate with the conversation we had the day before? We're having trouble with our tight breaks on comebacks. What drill can I do that's going to help solve this issue? Rather than just, I think there's a lot of coaches and a lot of people in general in life that something that they have an issue, but they're not constantly looking for new ways to fix that issue. Or even if there aren't issues, people tend to get very complacent. Like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it type expression. But, something Coach Teal always said that is a Greg Schiano expression was, if it's not broke, fix it and make it better. Because there's always ways to make it better, always ways to kind of improve. And unless I think you've tried a tactic or a method or a strategy that's been proven over time to create greatness, and it's something that's overly proven, I think you always want to be finding a better way and trying to even enhance that way that is proven. And I think I think that concept of, you have to be curious to be self-motivated can carry it on to anything. And I think it's something to keep in mind, like always push yourself to be curious, never settle, never be satisfied, and never think that you've uncovered the answer, because there could always be a better way of improving what you're doing, or improving the way you do it, or what time you do it, or how much energy you like. There's just so many factors to anything in life, and specifically in coaching for me, it's always how can I enhance this drill? How can I make one tweak to this drill that's going to resonate more so that my players come out of their breaks faster, or whatever the issue might be. How can I, improve this coverage study so that we can gather more relevant information that's going to help us game plan? Do I add one more factor? Do I subtract one more factor? Do I look at an additional scenario in the film breakdown? Like, are those continuing to try to find ways to achieve your goals? And I think it's the same thing as players. Like, if you never settle, a lot of people, in high school, they settle when they're great players because, athletically they're gifted to be so much better than everyone around them, and that's fine. They can rush for 200 yards a game. They can throw for 400 yards a game, whatever their statistics might be in the newspaper articles and all that stuff. It's easy to get complacent when you are a successful athlete at a young age. But I think once you get to the higher levels, you have to always be curious about, maybe you run a great slant route. Well, now how do you make your hitch route better? How do you make your 5-step post better? How do you make your comebacks better? Like, and okay, so you feel like you run great routes. You can run the entire route tree on the outside. Well, now learn how to play the slot position. Learn how to play, make sure you have your formations down pat. Make sure you know every release and every technique and every situation you could come in on every slot route and every outside route. And really, I don't know if that's possible. I think they're NFL guys that are constantly learning. They're NFL guys that are still constantly learning new things about, how to improve their route running, and that goes for every position. But I just think the more you push yourself to improve, the more coaches can use you, the more positions you can play, the more roles you can play in an offense. If you're an offensive lineman, learning how to play, if you're a left tackle, learning how to play left guard and center and right guard and right tackle means now you can show up somewhere in college and play all 5 positions, and that's a hugely valuable asset. If you're a backup quarterback and you want to get on the field, learn how to get on special teams, figure out a way to get on the field and make yourself useful. I think that curiosity is just such an invaluable trait for all people. And it's just something I've been thinking a lot about. How do I not, you're in the grind of the season. You've gone through, for us, we started in June. We've gone through basically 3 months of preseason, which is about to be week 7 of the season. Like, you're in the grind. So how do you stay curious about new ways to improve? Because you watch the film, and unless you're going out there and winning by 40 points every game, nothing's ever good enough. You're never playing at a high enough level because, we're all out here on a quest to be the last one standing and be the only team to end the season without losing. So that's hard to do, and I think you have to just constantly be asking yourself how you can improve yourself, improve your craft. How can you motivate your team or your guys better, and just stay curious. And I think if you always need a coach to motivate you, eventually you're going to be in trouble, because eventually that coach isn't going to be there, or eventually somebody will be outworking you when you're not around that motivating factor. There are people who are willing to push themselves past their limits, and if you always need a coach to provide that for you, I think eventually that catches up to you. And it's a reason why, honestly, I'm a little bit scared about the current culture of all these position-specific trainers in the offseason. And it sounds a little hypocritical because I train wide receivers, but I try to make it so that I'm very affordable. I mean, if you ask anyone who's ever coached or whoever trained with me, I charge probably half what most trainers charge, because I'm just really out here to grow the game and help people learn, as many people learn the fundamentals as possible. And I have faith that by building this entire brand and building the Sideline Hustle movement and the WRU movement and everything we're doing, that by not, shortchanging people or not, stealing money out of people's pockets in the short term and overcharging people and making it difficult for them to come back and work with me, I want it to be affordable so that repeat sessions can happen and we can work together all summer, all off season. And I have faith that in the long run, the next thing, you'll feel loyal enough. You'll feel like you have to invest in, whether it's a book, whether it's a receiver manual, whether it's an online training platform. There's a million things that we're kind of working on in the background, that I have faith that by paying it forward now and helping as many people as possible with free content online, really affordable training sessions in person, by operating that way, down the road in 1 year from now, 5 years from now, you guys will pay it forward and it will kind of work itself out, because I just really want to provide as much value as possible to the audience and help as many receivers and receiver coaches and football fans as possible with all this content. It's why I work so hard at it, is not for the, trying to grow the brand in the next year. And as much as we've grown in the last year, it's not even what I'm focused on. I'm focused on building a giant, building a football empire that is using every available resource to help educate people about the game. And I think that's the ultimate big picture goal. And it's like a perfect example. I have to stay curious and continue to find new ways to do that, because new technology develops. I learn about technology I didn't previously know about that now I can implement and use to help people with. And you're going to see a lot of that in the offseason, a lot of new ways of trying to help educate you guys and train people online. And then, if you are able to make it to a personal training session, it's something that you'll see that difference too. But I'm trying to provide resources so that you have ways to continue to be curious when you're on your own. And it scares me when people have, a speed coach, a strength coach, a receiver coach, a footwork coach, like all this stuff. And it's like, you don't need all that. Like, you really don't. Like, I understand someone teaching you the fundamentals of the position, but plenty of people became great without someone coaching them through every aspect. You got to be curious about motivating yourself and getting this work done on your own. But I'm trying to, with the Sideline Hustle, provide the tools for you to do that at all times. And that's the ultimate goal. So that's all I got. Coach Liebs, episode 22 of Coach Talk. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Peace.